Well, it's a beautiful Friday morning where I am, and of course, it's time to do our Friday morning live. If you hear some extra activity this morning, I live next door to a horse farm, and today they've got a group of young people over from one of the area schools, and they're doing some outside maintenance and activity. So if you hear kids and a little bit of extra chatter in the background today, that's what's going on over there. All right, we're going to get into this in just a moment. Get yourself a cup of coffee. My Friday morning rants are a little less formal than the other rants I do. There'll be no creative production work, and we won't be showing any video clips. And we'll go ahead and get this started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning. Welcome to the Friday morning rant. Now, just a little bit of background information before I get into our topics today. Somebody has asked me if I still do radio. My video commentaries that I do here on YouTube are aired on Local 840 WPGS in Orlando, Florida. But I don't actually do a radio show like I used to do anymore when it comes to talk radio. Now, I do still do rock and roll radio. Believe it or not, on Friday afternoons, I do a show called the Friday Flashback. It's 1960s Top 40 radio, and we do it in the 1960s format, complete with the old liners and jingles. And I really have a good time with that. I figure by Fridays, everybody's on information overload. So on the Friday ride home, I just play 1960s Top 40 radio. We have a lot of fun with it. You can hear that at local840.com. Local840.com. Just click the Streama app and you are good to go. And that's every Friday, 5 o'clock Eastern time. I follow Paul Harvey's The Rest of the Story, and I think you'll really enjoy that. But something I do on the weekends, I have a syndicated 2-hour oldies radio show called the Sunday Matinee. And if you like 1950s, 1960s, pre-Beatles, original era rock and roll, I do a 2-hour show called the Sunday Matinee, and I have a lot of fun with it. Every week, we have a different theme. Last week, I did an Abbott and Costello theme. I took all of their movie trailers and we found some great oldies to go with it. We took some of their movie scenes and found some great oldies to go with it. There's a great scene where Margaret Hamilton, who played the witch in The Wizard of Oz, had a scene with Lou Costello in a movie called Coming Round the Mountain, where he's there to buy a love potion from her. And of course, that was a great lead-in to that great old oldies love potion number 9. If you want to hear the Sunday Matinee, I'm on about a dozen stations around the country, primarily on Sunday. Some stations do a midweek release of it as well. You can go to my Facebook page for Sunday Matinee. That's Sunday Matinee Radio. Sunday Matinee Radio on Facebook. There you'll see a listing of all the stations I'm on, the times I'm on. The easiest, obvious, and the one that I'm the most partial to, go to local840.com, and I'm there on Sundays at 1 in the afternoon and again at 7 in the evening. That's local840.com. Just click the Streama icon on the Local 840 website, and boom, you will hear the Sunday Matinee. Now, by the way, this is a beautiful white and red ceramic Sunday Matinee coffee mug, and I give these out to my listeners absolutely free. All you have to do is go to my Facebook page, Sunday Matinee Radio, and through the private message feature, just tell me your name and your mailing address, what station you listen to us on, and we will send you one of these absolutely free. And again, this is not plastic. This was not made in China. This is made right here in the good old US of A. In fact, these are released through Vistaprint, and these are nice coffee mugs, and we pay a good dollar for these, but it's my way of saying thank you to you. I don't sell merch, but I will give you a Sunday Matinee coffee mug. And if you're you like the afternoon drive, You request this. I don't really give these out, but I'll give you one for watching me on Facebook Live. Again, just go to Sunday Matinee Radio on Facebook through the private message feature. Just give me your name, your mailing address, and tell me what it is about the afternoon drive you like, and I will send you. This is a white ceramic mug, again, good quality, and I think you'll enjoy it. All right, let's get into the topics of the day. The Ford Motor Company has decided to join Bud Light and every other group that's decided to kill their brand by going completely woke, or in this case, gay. Ford has released a new commercial where you see one of their trucks just raging through the mud in this life or death race, and all of a sudden it hits a mass puddle like the size of a small lake, and it comes out all decked out in the rainbow. And of course, it then takes the lead in the Baja race, and the gay truck wins. Why? Why? I have a simple question about the whole gay pride thing. What is it? You're literally celebrating for an entire month who a person chooses to have sex with. That's really what it's about. You're celebrating that two dudes get into bed with each other, or two women get into bed with each other. That's their mega accomplishment in life, who they have sex with. And I got a newsflash. Most conservatives, even most conservative Christians, we do understand that there is this thing within Scripture called individual soul liberty, which means, you know what? You want to take a chance and engage in a behavior that I don't personally approve of. That's between you and God, but understand, there is this thing called a judgment coming, but hey, it's on you. What you do behind closed doors, that's on you. As long as it's not grossly illegal, it's on you. Whatever you want to engage in, but to force me to acknowledge it, to embrace it, to accept it, to endorse it, I don't think so. And the fact that you get an entire month, and it's all based on who you have sex with, you're going to give me an entire month that I have sex with my wife. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's Marty month. Marty and Sherry had sex this month. It's absurd. It's just outright lunacy, and it is the conditioning for the accepting of depravity. Yes, I decided to go there today because that's what all of this trans nonsense that we're going through. And 2 years ago, when Dr. Fauci was at the height of his influence with all of the pandemic bullhawk, I went on his website and spent a lot of time doing some study of Dr. Fauci, trying to get an understanding for who this maniacal little maniac was. And it was interesting. I don't know if it's still on the NIH website, but it was when he was still director, that he said that we were engaged in another evolutionary process was actually taking place. And I thought, oh, this is interesting, because certainly as a pastor and an ordained minister and a student of theology, I am a strong advocate, obviously, of creation, or what we would call divine design. So I wanted to know, what did he consider to be the new evolution? Well, of course, new sexes are evolving. That is exactly what Dr. Fauci and NIH took a position on 2 years ago, that new sexes are evolving. I got a newsflash for you. It's biology, XX or XY. That's it. You're male or female. And again, I hate to cloud the issue with the Bible, but Genesis makes it pretty clear. God created male and female created he them. Separate, distinct from one another. And so we have this now. Once we accepted same-sex marriage, because all they wanted was the right to love who they love. You hear Joe Biden say that all the time. You get to love who you want to love. But once they opened the door to that, then everything was on the table. Literally everything was on the table. I made the argument back in the day when I was still on radio that when they legalized same-sex marriage, based on listen, homosexuality is not a choice. You're born that way. You can't help who you're attracted to. And I said, that's a dangerous argument, because that's the argument the pedophile can use. I can't help it I'm attracted to 8-year-olds. I can't help it I'm attracted to 7-year-olds. Same argument. Same argument. Now, we have states that are introducing laws and legislation, here it comes, legalizing polygamy. Why not? Once you change the fundamental definition of marriage, the union between a man and a woman, once you change that definition, everything was put on the table. By the way, once we embraced this so-called same-sex marriage, is it any wonder that we are seeing the rise in just outright depravity? Not just the transgender woke nonsense that we're seeing. You know, guys claiming to be girls so they can compete in female sports. That's great. You know what? I'm going to get my motorcycle out this week, and I identify as a cyclist. So I'm just going to, enter one of these bicycle marathons and win, because, my motorcycle identifies as a bicycle. I mean, this is just so ludicrously stupid on the one level. But yet it is the state of where we are in depravity, that man now decides he's, quote, a woman. And as we have a world that's gearing up for World War III, the generation that's supposed to fight that war in our country is still trying to decide not just what they want to be when they grow up, but what gender they want to be when they grow up. I mean, this is where this cultural depravity has taken us. And the reason that a guy like Vlad Putin, here we go, Pastor Marty's now going to defend Vlad Putin. The reason a guy like Vlad Putin has made homosexuality and transgenderism and all of this illegal in Russia is about the preservation of the human race. Period. I know that sounds over the top and radical to some people, but seriously, think it through, because since we embraced same-sex union in this country, since we said it's okay, it's legal, they can't help it, pedophilia is going to be accepted in this nation. Pedophilia will be accepted. It will be legalized in this nation. You mark it down. We spent 3 years on a bogus hoax investigation into Donald Trump over Trump-Russia collusion. Yet politicians who knew full well what Jeffrey Epstein was involved in, even after he had been found guilty and was under, a slap on the wrist sentence in Florida for it, they still hung out with Jeffrey Epstein. They still rode on his plane. They still went to his island. If you don't think that pedophilia is real in this country and that there are certain groups of people that engage in it on a regular basis within what we call the political ruling class. I did a commentary here on YouTube, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, when the whole Corey Feldman thing came out, and he talked about, the child rape that goes on in places like Hollywood. And there was some talk then at that time about Satanism. And I did this video, or this commentary, where I said, you may not believe in Satanism, and that's fine. And you may think that the people that are involved in that are absolute cracks and loons, and I would agree with you. But there are people who do believe in it. There are people who do practice it. And yes, within the ruling class, a lot of this cultic behavior of skull and bones and all this other weird, borderline occultic behavior that they engage in, that they are the elite ruling class and they go off into the woods and, go through these rituals. Part of what's involved there is the molestation of children. And again, understand that these people truly believe that when you take the innocence of a child, that empowers them. And it doesn't matter whether or not you believe that kind of warped mentality, these people believe it. And so when we celebrate rainbow cans and rainbow trucks and rainbow months at all of our stadiums and in our culture, that we're endorsing that first step. That first step leads to every other step. Now, I know you may think I'm just ranting and rambling today, but you need to just watch and look at what's happened to our nation since we openly embraced it, endorsed it, and the Supreme Court said it was okay. We now have guys who think they're girls. It is interesting because you got to wonder if maybe, just maybe, the actual homosexual community is a little bit miffed at the trans community, that because now boys that are quote unquote effeminate are no longer content with just being gay, they are now transitioning to being women. So there's a little civil war going on in the LGBTQ community. And then of course we have, again, there's going to be an acceptance of pedophilia. There is, and it's coming. And we're already hearing legislators and different people in this world of psychology talking about, pedophiles can't help who they're attracted to. The Kinsey report, that infamous Kinsey report of more than how many decades ago, said that under the right conditions, a sexual encounter between an adult and a child could actually be beneficial. Wow. Wow. All they wanted was the right to love who they love and to get married. That's what we were told when the White House lit itself up in rainbow lights and rainbow flags the night the Supreme Court made that infamous decision. And look where we are, how many years later, at the level of depravity in our nation. That's that. Let's talk about the FBI has now stepped in and said there'll be no more releasing of the January 6th video footage. Bump. Gee, I wonder why, Batman. I wonder why. Because after the Durham report came out and basically completely, totally exonerated and vindicated Donald Trump, and you now even have members of the leftist alternative media now saying it. Jimmy Dore is saying it. Russell Brand is saying it. Matt Taibbi is saying it. No, I'm sorry. I'm reading a comment here. No, I'm sorry. I did not see Valuetainment yesterday. I like the channel. I catch it once in a while, but no, I didn't see their report yesterday. Matt Taibbi is talking about it. Glenn Greenwald is talking about it. Trump has been completely exonerated and vindicated. The FBI, working in collusion with Barack Obama and Hillary Rodham Clinton, polarized, weaponized, politicized, went after a private American citizen, i.e. Donald Trump. And they got away with it. And nobody's going to jail. And they don't want you to see the FBI videotape, or the January 6th videotape anymore, because we're going to find out they were the insurrectionists. I have to say that like that so the algorithm doesn't pick it up. They got all that started on J6. I'm not saying that there weren't some crazos and overzealot Trump people that day that did stupid things and acted grossly inappropriate. But the vast majority were there protesting, legitimately protesting what they believed to have been, shall we say, election irregularities. Trump has been vindicated. And they don't want you to know how vindicated he truly is. And so they're going to suppress what happened on January 6th as much as they can. Tucker Carlson lost his job because of it. Remember, Chuck E. Cheese Schumer stood in the well of the Senate and he said, Rupert Murdoch, take Tucker Carlson off the air. And I don't know what they got on Roop or his boys, but that's the way the corruption in Washington sustains itself. You always have dirt on each other so that you can basically guarantee mutual destruction. I got dirt on you and I'm taking you down. To which your opponent says, and I got dirt on you, I'm taking you down. If you've ever seen the Tom Cruise movie, The Firm, which of course is based on a Grisham book, that's Washington, D.C. You know, I don't know what they got on Rupert and his boys. I don't know if they got, video footage of his boys engaging in sex with barnyard animals. I don't know. I don't know if they got the video footage of Roop and the boys with Jeffrey Epstein on Epstein Island. But whatever they had on him, it was enough that he killed his own network by firing the #1 anchor in all of TV news. Think about that. Think about that. And so it'll be interesting to see as we move forward with the Trump campaign what they try to do, because everything they have thrown at him hasn't worked. And you have to wonder at some point, they've held off on the one option because obviously there are people that just couldn't stand the thought of him, being a martyr. And this is just a question we're thinking about out loud. So, you got DeSantis getting ready to throw his hat in the ring because he's a winner. Why is he allowed to win? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Why is DeSantis allowed to win? Because you better believe me, DeSantis is deep state up to his eyeballs. Up to his eyeballs, DeSantis is deep state. I've said this before, I will say it again. In Florida, he did a good job, but not out of core conviction. He was brought to the right by the right in Florida. He didn't bring the state to the right. They brought him to the right. And he's figured out his shtick is to try to out-Trump Trump without the quote-unquote baggage and drama and controversy. But in reality, he is deep state. He has been allowed to achieve success because the deep state wants to use Ron DeSantis as their Trojan horse to take down Trump. And I'm not saying that if DeSantis became president that he would totally, quote unquote, do a 180. I think we would get some of the social agenda and things that we like. But he is going to bring in a globalist agenda, just like a Joe Biden, just like a George W. Bush. You will get a globalist agenda under Ron DeSantis. Why? He's not going to fight the deep state. He's part of it. And by the way, they got stuff on him. And don't think for a moment that if he were to step out of line, that all of a sudden we wouldn't start seeing video footage of him engaging in torture at Gitmo. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Or whatever else it is they've got on him. Well, that's about wraps up my Friday rant. I enjoy doing these in the summer months when I can be outside and enjoy the time. I hope you have yourselves a fantastic weekend. And we'll see you on Monday.